All right, I think we are live. I would want to see if my voice is okay. Testing, testing. Let's see. Okay, this is my first time doing a live stream, so be easy on me. But I think I have everything. Let me know if the stream is degraded or if the audio sounds okay. Okay, I'm gonna monitor. Right now it looks like we have 2 people, so ooh, what happened? Okay, it looks like there's only 2 people right now, so I'm gonna just wait here to see if more people join before I start. Oh, great. Thanks. Thanks for clarifying. This is literally my first time doing this. I'm using a tool called OBS, so I had to research on how to do this all day yesterday. Cool. Awesome. I'm just going to wait a little bit longer to see if more people join. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I developed a prototype. Let me know if the audio is a little bit better. I raised the gain. I developed a prototype on Windows a couple of years ago. So I'm going to go over what that prototype is, and I'm modeling that based off of, I'm modeling what the version that I'm working on now, which is for the internet, for the cloud. I'm modeling it based off of this cloud version. So let's go over that while we wait for people. Is the audio a little bit better now? Or is it still too low? All right. Let's check it out. So while we wait for people to join, I just wanted to go over the prototype music Jotter, which I developed this a couple years ago. And I started with R&D, research and development, in 2014. So I have a lot of development behind this product. And I recently decided to rebuild this product from scratch so that I could work on the cloud. But it's not just going to be a cloud product. I'll explain that once I start the presentation. So right now, this prototype currently works in Windows. Okay, so I have to check the messages while I'm presenting, and I may not be very good at this the first time, so anything I miss, we can chat in the Facebook group, and I'll answer a lot of your questions in the Facebook group. Cool, so let's go over just real quick what this prototype is. So what you see here, let's gotta make sure you can see this. Yeah. Great. Yeah, so what you see here is what Music Jotter will be when I launch the cloud product. I'm going to match this exactly. So here we go. We have a ribbon layout up here. We've got layout, notes. This is where you're going to input all of your music. Edit. This is where you can change your key signature, your time signature, your clef. I will support cross stave, so that will come later. But this is meant to be a professional grade tool for composers. Even though it's easy to use, it's going to be professional grade. We got operations, so this is where you can copy, paste. You can undo, redo, and all that. Transpose notes. This is where the realistic playback will be. So I'm going to talk about nuancing your music, which is, I find, very important. As a composer, you want to nuance your music. You want to make sure that it doesn't sound so robotic, so stringent. So I'm going to focus on that too. I think that's a big selling point. Repeats and bar lines. So this is where you can do the da capo, dal segno. You can add your end bar, double thin line, thick bar, etc. So I'll have a repeat and bar line tab. Dynamics. So we'll have a dynamic tab as well. So you have your dynamics here, which are static, and then we'll have the arpeggio, the slurs, and anything that's a little bit more advanced will go here. Anything to do with MIDI, and then managing my music. So this is the prototype. It's going to look a lot like this. I also am going to focus on the mixer, because I think a good mixer view is important in a product like this. So yeah, so you can hide and bring back the mixer view at your leisure. This way, if you want more real estate, you can hide it but bring it back as well. So each track is going to get its own keyboard, virtual keyboard. I think this is kind of unique to a product like this, because let's say you are composing, track A, let's say the right hand in a piano, and then when you play back your music, you should be able to see the notes play on this virtual keyboard as well. But if you want to see maybe a different virtual keyboard, let's say your left hand, you can click on this button here, and you'll see the left hand play as well. So I think when I play, you're not going to see it through the video, but you should be able to see the keys play. So as you can see, it's color coded. So the more velocity there is red. The less velocity is green. So it's color coded. It's kind of cool. So yeah, so this is the prototype. Let me just check the live stream. More people. Awesome. Voice check is okay. I think the voice check is okay. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. So let me introduce myself to you. And, first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining this live stream. Let me change the view. Let's see. There we go. Cool. So thank you all for joining. This is my first live stream, as I was saying. The purpose of this is to show you, demo Music Jotter from my perspective, to introduce to you who I am, why am I starting a Kickstarter campaign, what it is, and also explain to you the product a lot more in detail. If I'm stumbling, it's because this is my first time, so I'll get better at this. So who am I? I'm an engineer. I've been an engineer for, I graduated as a computer engineer. I'm also a musician. I've been writing music for about 20 years. I have many years of experience in computer programming, so I started a little bit later in life. So in my 30s, I started programming and picking it up. So that's why I say, like, I have 15,000 hours of computer programming experience. Because if I said years, it's kind of irrelevant, because I started a decade ago. So, but I have many hours of programming experience behind me. And I feel like that's important for me to let you know, because these are my credentials. I'm trying to raise money for a product like this. You should understand my credentials. So why am I doing a Kickstarter campaign? A product like this is very complicated to develop. I started researching and developing this product in 2014. It's maddening. Like, I had a full-time job. You go home from your full-time job and then you're just coding for another 4 or 5 hours. It's tough. But I got very far with this product, and I saw the potential of this. So then I decided, let me bring this on the cloud. Just to start, let me bring this on the cloud. And I saw that this product could be something big for musicians. And I'll tell you, I will talk about some of the differences between this and MuseScore. I get a lot of like, I'm going to use MuseScore. Why would I use this product over MuseScore? You know, or a free tool? And I'll go over some of those things. But again, Kickstarter is a way for me to try to raise some money for this product. It's a very complicated tool to build. I want to build a team. You know, right now it's just me. I want to see if I raise enough money, I want to hire one engineer, maybe two engineers to help me build this product out. And it's going to first be released on the cloud. The reason why I chose cloud first is because I feel it's easier to demonstrate. It's easier to show you what this product is. If it was released just for Windows, then I would have to make sure that you have a Windows machine, and then you have to install it, and it can get problematic, especially for someone just starting out. So that's the only reason why I'm starting out with the cloud. It's not going to just be a cloud product, though. I just want to let you know that. So for those of you who joined, I think at the top you'll see a link to my Kickstarter page. That is just basically before I launch, is going to show like how many people are supporting this project so far. I think about 170 so far. If you want to get a head start, just click on that link and click notify me. That will notify you when I launch this fundraiser. And when I launch this fundraiser, I think you'll get a notification in your email, and I'll also email you as well and say, hey, we're live. So that's what that means. Great. Cool, so let me start with Music Jotter and what it is. Okay. So I think the question to ask is, what do composers want? You know, I'm going to start with that. What do we want? Because I'm a composer too, so I'm part of this group. We want to write music with as few obstacles as possible. We want beautiful sheet music. I think aesthetics is very important. When I write music, I want it to look nice. Of course, we want to publish and share our music. Why are we writing music if we're not sharing it with other people? You know, so that's an important aspect. Discussing music with other people from the community. That's a reason why I'm trying to build a community before I sell this product. I think building a community is very important. This one is important too. Realism in your recordings. So a lot of composers, when they write music, I think they think that adding like good instrument sounds is all they need, you know, or a good reverb is all you need. That's a misconception, because you can add realism. You could add good sounding instruments to a MIDI file that's not nuanced or it's not sequenced well, and it just won't sound right. And so I'm trying to put in my experience in nuancing music into this product, and I think I will demonstrate like the difference between a non-nuanced piece of music versus nuanced. You'll see the difference is really quite amazing. So that's really important. So a music editor is more than just writing music. It's also about realism and having good sounding music. And I explain nuance here is you know, tempo changes, velocity changes, the attack. So this would be the start time of your note. So when we play music, we're not always like playing on the dot. You know, that's what makes it sound non-human. So the attack is a part of nuancing music, and the duration. So we're not always like playing perfect duration with all of our notes. All of this sounds like, if everything is perfect, then it sounds computerized. And that's what Music Jotter can help with. Okay, so let me check the chat. Cool, all right. Moving on. So what is Music Jotter? So I showed you the prototype, which I've developed a couple of years ago, but now I am revisiting Music Jotter. I'm building from scratch. This way I have full control over how it's built. This is going to be the first professional grade notation software that's going to be interchangeable, and it'll allow you to compose both on your desktop and your computer, your desktop computer and the cloud, and vice versa. So if you compose something on your computer, like me, I like to compose music on my in the privacy of my own home. But I also like to share as well. So I may take that music that I've written, upload it to the cloud, share it to people. I may want to make updates, so you can make updates on the cloud as well, and then you can also transfer it back to your desktop computer. This is what I think would be a very nice workflow. It doesn't just restrict you to one medium. So if you want to write on a computer, transfer it to the cloud, continue writing it on the cloud and transferring it back, this is what Jotter can do. So this is the first accessible professional grade notation software that will be accessible on Windows, Mac, Linux, iPhone, iPad, Windows. So I say the iPhone and iPad because it'll work through the browser. So as long as you have a browser on the iPhone, which all iPhones have a browser, and the iPad does too, it will work. I just have to test it for the touch controls and for resolution to make sure it looks okay. So it will work with all of these platforms. I also focus on nuancing music. Like I said, I'll demonstrate that. Something that I just thought of is, well, since I am developing this program from scratch, we can create our own plugins or macros. Basically, what that means is if you're a developer, you may not be, and that's okay. But if you are a developer, you can create your own functionality. You can automate your own functionality. So the tentative launch date, I'm going to try to get this out to you. So when I release this on Kickstarter, I most likely am going to have a launch date of August 2023. So that will be the first launch date. It's not going to be like the full product at that point. It'll be the first iteration. I can iterate because this is cloud. So that's another reason why I did cloud. So the first launch date would be, my aim would be August 2023. Of course, if I get funded, I will, hire people to help me. So obviously, one person can't do that, but I will hire the people to help me get this out. What method for input? Keyboard acoustic input. So you can input through MIDI controller, any MIDI controller, keyboard. I'll test it for, I have a MIDI keyboard here. I can just test it on that. Acoustic input, do you mean like playing an instrument in a microphone and outputting it, converting it from audio to MIDI? If you mean that, that's like a different technology. It's something that would not be released. It wouldn't be like on the first release, if that's what you mean. Okay. So again, macros, when I was talking about macros, this is Sibelius level stuff. Like Sibelius has the capability to, program your own functionality. Jotter can offer that because I built this from scratch, which means that I have full control over all of the data so all the notes that you see on your score, I have full control over all the data. I can give you control over that data, which means you can program your own functionality. Now, if you're not a programmer, no big deal. I will have training sessions and I'll have documentation training sessions on how to create certain functionality. I'll have examples. I'll write something. If you need something, I'll write something for you, and then you can just look at some of the examples. As we grow this community, this will be very powerful. So the ability to add macros and do your own plugins, Sibelius level stuff, you can do this with Jotter. Music scrubbing technology. I really believe in this technology. I don't know why more softwares don't offer this, but Jotter will be big on music scrubbing. And I'll show you a demo of that. It just has a good workflow as well. You just know the feel of it is it just feels really good to use. And I'll show you from my perspective. I'll do a demo right after this last point. And then Music Jotter is going to be a community builder. So I will, build a community, talk to you, get to know you, you'll get to know me. I feel building a product like this is a give and take. I can't just build it. This is another reason why I'm doing a Kickstarter. I can't just build 100% of this product and release it and say, here you go. I wanted to get started, build it at 25. Right now it's 25% on the cloud version. I want to get started and then see if what you guys thought about it, and then I want to have that communication, that back and forth communication on different features. So that's my goal here. Okay, I'm just looking at some of the comments. Will you be able to import Sibelius or Finale files? So through Music XML, that can be done. Music XML will be standard. From sax or clarinet to mic. Okay, so regarding being able to go from audio to MIDI, I think it won't be so bad if it's just one voice. So that should be okay. I can research into like a one voice. So basically it could be from voice to notes, sax to notes, clarinet to notes. But if you're talking about like a whole orchestra, that is going to be almost impossible to do. That's very difficult to do. But so if you mean voice to an audio to notes, then yes, that should be doable. It won't be on the first release, but it's something that I can research. So now I'm going to go over from my perspective, Music Jotter. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Gotta find it. All right, cool. Here it is. So let me just do a demo. Let's take a look at this score here. So this is just some score I created. I actually created this in Finale and exported it. We can do many views of this. So you can make an iFrame. You could share it with people. You could show any type of resolution. So let's start with the page score, the page size. So let's make a page size of 2000 by 2000. All right, cool. So you can see that now we have a page size of 2000 by 2000. If we want to show it this way to someone, then they'll see it in this view. So let's now change the scale to 50%. This way we could see more of the score in one shot. All right, cool. So now we could see it zoomed. So we can fully customize how a score could look, sharing it on social media, etc. Let's do a PDF export. We can also export it as a PDF to someone. So if they want to download the PDF, they'll download it at 2000 by 2000 at a 50% scale. And so you can see that this is the power of it online. You can share your scores like this, which is this is something that I'm excited about personally. But let's go on to the functionality. So new score, say 2 flats, two tracks, 15 measures, legal, test. Boom. All right, cool. What's really powerful about this software is the dynamic note cursor. And right now, since I'm on my desktop computer, it's way faster. So if you're testing this on the sandbox, it's not going to be quite as fast because it's on a server that I haven't optimized for Music Jotter. This is because I'm doing a proof of concept right now, so I want to see if there's enough demand. But on my developer computer, it's really fast. It's really fast. That's why I wanted to develop. That's why I want to release this as a standalone product. So you can see the dynamic note cursor is very powerful and tells you exactly like where you are. It's very fluid and dynamic. Finale has this too, so this is not unique to it. But what is unique is the tuplet indicator. So when you're adding a tuplet like a triplet or a quintuplet, you'll see an indicator so you know what you're doing. I don't, as far as I know, I don't think any solution out there has this indicator. It's a small little thing, but these small things add up to a better user experience, and you'll see a lot of that in MuseScore. A lot of small things that will add up to making a better user experience. Okay, so if I'm adding a tuplet, you can see that it's very easy to do. I don't have to go through menus. I can just keep going. A lot of my style is writing triplets or quintuplets, and I'll show you that too. I don't want to have to go through menus when I'm doing this, and I can also add these notes through a keyboard as well. So what you're seeing here can be done on a keyboard. You can see it's just fluid. I could add notes in between, doesn't matter. It's just, to me, this is a win. For me, if I was a customer, like this is home run for me. You can have all kinds of presets for your tuplets, and you can even add your own custom tuplets. So if you click on this ratio button here, let's say you want some weird numbered tuplet that always will be there for you. You can click on 34/8, click OK, and then here you go. You got your 34/8 tuplet. It'll be there for you for your use anytime you want. So it's quite powerful, easy to use. You don't have to ever go through menus if you don't want to, but you can if you want something that's very unique. So that's the power. So you can see this note tab here is mostly finished. The only thing left to do is the estracaturas and the appoggiaturas. I plan on actually making this fully functional. A lot of notation software will just do estracaturas, but they'll call it grace note. So I'm researching the differences between the two. I want to make sure that these are available for you at your own leisure. So cool. Yeah, so this is the note tab. The rest obviously hasn't been developed yet, but the note tab is probably one of the hardest tabs to focus on, because this is the notation, the graphical part. Cool. So this is a quick demo. Is there anything else that I'm missing? You got your accidentals, pretty standard. You can hover over, press plus, press minus, and it'll update for you. It's pretty standard. You got your petite notes, which is nice. If you want to compose in Chopin style, petite notes. So I added that a little addition because I thought it was pretty neat. That's about it. Yeah. Okay. Check the comments. Comment check. Okay. Cool. How does it convert to written notes? If I play from my guitar or piano, how does it convert? Okay, yeah, so if you have a MIDI controller, it'll send a MIDI signal directly into this program, and it will notate it. If it's through a audio, you would have to do some kind of frequency conversion. Frequency from, I don't know, I'm just making this up, 44,000 hertz, and you'd have to know how to convert that into a note. So as long as it's one voice, that's why it has to be one voice, because if it's two voices or more, then it becomes tricky. But you can convert hertz to pitch, and that's how you would do it from audio. If it's a MIDI controller, it's very easy because you send the MIDI signal directly into the program. So that's how you would do it from keyboard to MuseScore. And this is pretty standard for most notation software. But one thing I didn't say is the recording feature for MuseScore will be based off of beats per minute rather than a recording session, which means that if you have, let's say you play a quarter note every second, 1, 2, 3, 4, as long as you stay within that BPM, almost like a metronome, then MuseScore will record at that rate for you. No recording session, so you can take a break. You can make mistakes. It's okay. You can go in, record, play at the rate of 1 second per quarter note, and take breaks and go back and make edits. So that's one huge difference between the MuseScore way of recording. It's just that this is a very hard thing for me to explain. That's why I'm not like explaining it in my commercials, because it's hard to talk about something like that in a 30-second commercial. Even in my Kickstarter video, I don't know if I'll advertise this. I'll put it in writing on my Kickstarter page, but it's a very hard thing to explain. However, once you understand it, this is an amazing way of recording music. It's not against a timer; it's against the BPM. As you play your music, you'll see it being transcribed in real time. Okay, yeah. So so what I'll do is I'll try to make something like this as error-free as possible. Something like this is not perfect. So my goal is to make this to be as comfortable as possible. If there are other technologies out there doing this, that's fine. It's something that I haven't seen personally, but something that I would love to have. So Music Jotter is going to support that type of transcribing. Okay, so let me go back to the PowerPoint demo. Okay, so for people who are saying things like, why would I use Music Jotter over MuseScore, or why not just use Sibelius? So one reason is, like I was talking to you about realism in your recording. So I'm going to apply my experience in creating nuanced MIDI files is going to be embedded in this program. I'll help make a recording not sound so robotic sounding. So that's one reason why you may want to use Music Jotter over something that's free. Ease of use, like I just showed you in a demo now, it's very simple to use. It's very fluid. It's just very clear on what you're doing. If you want to add a note in between another note, you can do so. Macros is a big thing. Again, this is Sibelius level stuff. You can add your own functionality. It's very, very cool, very powerful. Music scrubbing, which I will demo, and also the cloud and desktop support. You can't ignore that. This can it'll be interchangeable between the cloud and the desktop, so that's really cool. For people who use VSTs right now, Music Jotter will not have that support on first release, but I'm someone who's going to look at the recordings of your music very, very carefully. I want to make sure that recording does sound as best as can be. VSTs are also not very user friendly, so Music Jotter is all about being powerful, but also very friendly, very easy to use. So if VSTs overcomplicate this program, I have to take that into consideration. Now, if I can standardize VST integration, then I'll look into that. If I could, make it so that it's very simple to do, but it's something that I need to make sure that can be done so it doesn't confuse people. It doesn't, it can get very confusing. And also, what is the problem that we're trying to solve, right? So if a VST is solving a problem, what is that problem? Let's take a look at that problem. Is it we're looking for good reverb? Are we looking for good instrument sounds or recordings? Well, if that's the case, then there are other solutions out there. So a while ago, there's a program called Giga Studio, which I use. It was very user friendly. It was a very amazing software that helped with your instruments, making your instruments sound more realistic. I don't know why they're not here anymore. This a defunct program. It could be that they just didn't want to focus on this specific market segment. I'm not sure. What I could do is I could contact Tascam. I could tell them like what I'm doing. As long as I have enough support from you guys, I could contact them and say, look, I have this program where we want our music to sound more realistic. Maybe we can revive a program like Giga Studio, or instead of that, if there's enough money involved, then I can figure out how to use some of those resources to create better sounding music. This could also be integrated with Contact or Pro Tools, so it's not a big deal. You can still use your existing tools if you want, but I want to keep Music Jotter very simple to use. I might do a note performer integration. So I could do more things as this product gets more traction. So talking about Noteflight now, because Noteflight is also a cloud product. So the only thing I'll say about that is I'm working on a professional grade product, which will be interchangeable between the cloud and the desktop. I'm one person not backed by money. Well, that is true. I'm not backed by money right now. I'm using my own money to create this product to bring you guys together, but I am not backed by money. So how do I compete against well-funded, let's say a Darko, which is backed by Yamaha? Well, that's a valid question. What I plan on doing is, trying to raise some awareness right now. I'm using some of my own money to bring awareness, but I also want to see if this could succeed on Kickstarter, then that would be my way of trying to build a team. I don't need a team of 30 people. I don't need that. I can get a lot done with just a couple of people. If I just get a couple of specialists who are programmers who are also into music, that's all I need. Then I can get a well-trained team in order to get this product out. So don't worry too much about that. As long as there's enough support on Kickstarter, it should be fine. And I also some people are saying I could use the free Lilypond or abcplus. They're just two different programs. I'm not going to say much about that. They're just they're engravers. It's different. Okay, so next. Check the comments. Thanks for joining. If you just tuned in, thank you for joining. Just going over some of the advantages of Music Jotter. Why would you use it over MuseScore or some other of the programs out there? So I'll talk about a little bit about the business plan very quickly, because I don't know if anyone cares about it that much, but the main difference is a community. I'm focusing on community. So a community-backed business versus an investor-backed business are very different things. If I only had, let's say, an investor who gave me money to run this company, I would have to report to that investor, and at the expense of communicating with you guys. So that's really what it would come down to. I would be reporting to the investor, and he would be making sure that I scale at a massive rate. So my goal would be very different if I didn't go to you guys first to see if I could run this organization, or at least get this product out. So a community-backed business means I can build this product at the rate that I feel is best fit. I could communicate with you. I can communicate with you through Facebook, through emails. If you could say something like, Mike, I want guitar support, or I want drum support, we can have this one-on-one communication, either through live streams if I get better at this, or through the Facebook group, through chat, through email. I'll talk back to you about all the different things that you would want to see. And there's a whole list. I'll send some links later on, but there's a whole list of things that you're asking me that if I can do, and some of them I can, some of them I'm going to release, and some of them I may have to say we have to wait a little bit, but it's something that I can look into. Again, it's all about resources. If I can build a small team, I can do a lot of cool things. I'm excited about this. Very excited about this. So again, open source. So something like MuseScore is open source, and it's really amazing what they're able to do. They were able to bring volunteers to develop this very complicated product. Now there are differences between open source and not open source. Like Music Jotter will not be free. It's not open source. I'll be upfront with you. You will pay for it. But here are the differences, and just hear me out. So in a community-based organization, I'll just call it an organization, you're at the mercy of the volunteer developers. Like if you want something, if you want to chat with someone, good luck. You're not going to have that voice. You're not going to have these live streams. You're not going to have the live streams to the point where you're talking about, like, I want this, I want A, I want B, C. The open discussion is not quite there. The volunteer community, you're at their mercy. With someone like me, where I'm developing for a community, my accountability is with you. And that puts me in check, and that makes sure that I get a product out that you want, not a product out that I think you want, but a product that you do want. And that's the major difference between an open source versus a non-open source like me. So the difference, again, that's the difference. I'm offering a two-way communication medium, starting with a Facebook group and the mailing list. So if you're hearing from me right now through email, that's how I was able to bring you all through together into the Facebook group. Okay, let me see. Just reading some of the comments. Does the software do quantization? That is something that I can for sure look into. The MIDI imports right now are not perfect. That's why I had to take off. I did have on the sandbox where you can load a MIDI import. I took that off because sometimes people were uploading very complicated MIDI files and it was screwing up with the import. It's something that I would look into. I would make MIDI imports flawless before launching this into production. And flawless means it won't break the system. Sometimes it breaks the system, and I'll make sure that it doesn't do that. So I'll definitely look into that as well and make sure that the MIDI imports are decent. It'll never be perfect, but decent. And that's where Music XML comes in, because if you have something that you created in, let's say, Finale or Sibelius, they all support Music XML. I'm sure they do. All you have to do is export it to Music XML and then use that to import it into Music Jotter, and it'll be perfect. Okay. A lot of words here, but I'll just go over some of the competitive advantages. I just want to reiterate some of it. Easy to use is very important. When you're working in a product like this, I know I want something that's easy to use. I want to write music, sometimes very complicated music. It has to be easy to use. The program has to be easy to use. Entering notes is like the most we do as composers, so that has to be simple to do. The dynamic note cursor, for example, makes it very clear where you are in the score. I think that's important. Like, these visual cues are important. Fewer clicks, fewer menu interactions. So when let's see if I could do this. When you are adding tuplets, notice how you don't need to go through menus every time. Like, I don't have to go through a menu and apply a tuplet. I can just look at the shortcuts, right? So there's no menus. Like, I don't want menus. I just want to compose. I set this up. I just go. So that doesn't make sense. That's why that happened. But I just want to compose like this. Whether through your mouse or through the keyboard, I don't want to go through menus. To me, that's important. Okay, so that's a huge competitive advantage. That's how I see it. I'm a composer, so this is a product that's built by a composer. I know the issues. A normal developer may not understand that, but I'm not a normal developer. I'm a composer who is a developer as well. By developer, I mean a computer programmer. So it's a product you'll have fun using. Easy to use, fun to use, features that's going to help you write music, such as music scrubbing. Native cloud support, being built on an architecture that will interchange between desktop and cloud. The first product into the market that offers this hybrid. And then, of course, plugin capabilities. Let me go a little bit over the plugin capabilities and the power that this could offer. If you could create your own functionality using the JavaScript programming language, then what you can do is you can create macros and then pin those macros in the ribbon. Really cool. So let's say you wanted to automate a common task, such as maybe I want to convert all major chords to minor chords. You could do that through programming. With my help, you can get this done. I wouldn't just say have at it. So something like a C major chord would be note 6. if you're going to look at like the MIDI itself, the note number for C is 60. And then throughout the chord, you're going to have 60, 65, and 68. Well, if you want to convert that to a minor chord, you need to identify the middle note of a chord, in this case, and then subtract it by 1. Subtract the note by 1. This way you have 60, 64, and 68. And that's how you convert a major chord, just a quick example, into a minor chord. And you can do this programmatically. So that's really cool. Like, you could pin it as an icon in your ribbon, and boom, done. So this is one silly example. You can highlight notes and transpose. Let's say you want to transpose the highlighted notes from a major scale to a minor scale. Well, you can do that because you'll have access to the information. You'll have access to the notes where you can programmatically do this. So as long as you're creative enough and understand a little bit of programming, you could look at that C major scale and convert it into anything that you want, C minor scale, or you can even randomize it if you want. It's bizarre that the number of cool things you can do with something like this. So if you want to convert eighth notes into quarter notes and vice versa, you can do that. Random velocities. So this is, I was talking about nuancing earlier, where you could make your music sound more realistic. Well, you can write your own functionality to do this if you want. If you don't want to use music jotters built in, you could write your own algorithm to randomize velocity, tempo, attacks, lots of cool things. You could even add sustained pedals. Let's say every sustained pedal markings every 2 beats. So if you write for the piano like me, you don't have to constantly add the piano sustain, unsustain markings. It's really cool. If I had this back in the day when I was composing, I would use this all the time. It would save me a lot of time. Cool. Go back to the chat. Can you do a demo playback of a score so we can hear the various instruments possibly? So I will have a demo coming out, the nuancing demo. You'll see how that sounds. Okay, so now I want to show you a little bit of music scrubbing and why I'm such an advocate for this technology. So this is my YouTube video. I'm just gonna play that. It's got to make sure you can hear it. Okay, so what this is doing is you can see that as you compose, you can hear the notes being played, which is kind of cool. You can also drag a play bar and hear your music being played as you compose. It helps you with experimentation. If I had this back in the day, like, I'd be using this all the time. And you'll see some examples from my compositions on why I would use something like this. So yeah, if you make a lot of mistakes, you can easily make corrections with this method right here. You can see that's what I'm doing. I'm iterating at a very constant pace. And this is my style, actually. This is how I compose. I compose like this, constantly making updates and tweaks. Now this is the, if I'm nuancing it, this is how it would sound. So as you can see, there's a quick example of music scrubbing, but it also shows you how you can nuance your music and make it sound more realistic. Now, obviously, the synthesizer, I don't have any instruments attached to that example. It's just using the synth from Windows 10 that this was on. But you can use sound fonts. Any instrument, VST instrument you want, that should work. In Pro Tools, you can export this to Pro Tools. So that's not a problem. And then you'll have that realism. So that's the power of nuancing your work. Okay, So here's a little bit, another example of just a snapshot of music scrubbing. You can see that I have the mixer here, the virtual keyboard. So you have the clarinets, which is the third track, and the virtual keyboard is highlighted. You can see as I'm scrubbing these two notes here, these notes are automatically, they'll play in the virtual keyboard. So as you scrub, you can also see the keyboard notes play, which is pretty cool. And then you'll have LEDs here as you play. It's just a cool way of saying like this track is playing right now. So this is a snapshot of the prototype, which I have all the intentions to import, to create this functionality into the cloud version that I'm working on. I also want to show you an example of Tuplet entry, music Jotter versus, so I'm talking about like using menus for Tuplet entries, and I just want to show you what I mean. So you can see that to start the process of adding a tuplet, you have to go through a process of adding menus and adding it the way you see on the left. Now you can copy and paste. I'm aware of that. You can copy and paste and then edit the notes. But you can see it's just not fluid. You know, it's just not fluid. It's not the way that I'd want to compose. It's my preference. It's my preference. So yeah. So can you imagine using this method on the left when your piece is all tuplets? Like, I would just not. I would rather just write by hand at this point. Okay, so this is a quick little demo. And let's see, next slide is going to talk about nuancing. Okay, this is my favorite part. Okay, so when you write music, sometimes if you're new to this, if you're writing on one of the competitors right now, your music may sound robotic. Now I know Finale takes care of this they have their own version of nuancing, which is their human playback. Mine's different because you can choose what parts you want to nuance. You may not want to nuance everything. You may want to only nuance highlighted notes. You can be very flexible with it. You can create your own. I told you, you can create your own algorithm if you want to. Very flexible. But music often sounds robotic, especially when you're first starting out. You don't realize like you need more than just notes. You can't just add good samples to a robotic sounding MIDI. It's still going to sound non-performed. Music Jotter will have his own version of realistic playback. I'm also going to offer templates of tempo, dynamic, and sustain pedal markings so that you can copy over these attributes. So what I mean by this is, let's take an example. If you look at my music snippet from the left, this is from my Ballad 6. If you look at this, you can see there's so many markings here. Dynamic markings, you got the tempo markings. This is all used to make it sound a little more realistic than if it was just a standard MIDI. But imagine if I had to add that in every single time. So I have, maybe I have 6 or 7 measures that look like this. The notes are a little bit different, but basically the beats are the same. It would be great to just copy over this template over. And that's something that Music Jotter will offer. Just copy over the template markings. It'll help you with nuancing your music. It'll also help you with wanting to do it. Like it's not a very fun thing to do, but once you do it and you hear how your music sounds, it's going to sound so much better. You're going to want to do this with most of your music, and it just makes the process easier. So you can see on the right, this is my a snippet from my Nocturne. It's an arpeggio. If you were to play this just in one tempo, it's going to sound really bad, and you'll hear how it sounds without any of the nuancing. You can see it's not that complicated. You just have a couple of tempo markings here, but it makes a huge difference, and you'll hear an example. So let me see. Okay. Can you input notes from hitting a keyboard? Yep, you can. Sure. Yeah. So I will offer the connection from the MIDI controller into Music Jotter. We just press the notes, and you can either do step entry where you enter them one at a time, or you can do a recording as well. So, okay, so here's an example of nuance, of a non-nuanced versus nuanced, and this is, yeah. Okay. Let me know if you can hear this. So this is from my ballad 6. The bitrate sucks. I don't know why. I'll paste this in Facebook. This clip here is from my ballad 9. It's one of the motifs. Finally, we have my nocturne. Okay, so that's an example of nuancing, and I would say that it makes your piece sound so much better if you took the time to do that. So let me see some of the questions here. I mean, from the keyboard indicating the note, can I input notes through a keyboard indicating the note? Yes. So as you play on the keyboard, on your MIDI keyboard, you'll see the virtual keyboard will reflect that, if that's what you mean. You'll know exactly like what you're inputting. How about the feature of lyric on the sheet? Yes, so I will be offering lyrics as well. That'll be standard for this notation application. Can I create a 26 stave orchestral score, and how are the instrument sounds? Okay, you can create 26 staves if you wish. Of course I have to test the efficiency of this program. As of now, it might be a little laggy, but again, that's why I'm trying to do fundraising, so I can build resources to make this product as efficient as possible. So yes, you can do 26 staves. How are the instrument sounds? Well, right now there is not going to be any sound integration. You would have to export into your own DAW or use your, let's say Pro Tools or something for now. I will have sound font integration for the basic recordings. But if you want something that sounds better than sound fonts, then you'd have to, as of now, use your own integrate Pro Tools, for example, or your own DAW. That's not to say that I'm going to always just be sound fonts. If Music Jotter gets more support, I will see what I can do to make a better integration. For example, Note Performer might be something that I can look into, where it'll enhance your output. Chopin could have used Music Jotter. Yeah, absolutely. I wonder what kind of music he would have written if he lived a little longer. Okay. And that's it. Okay, awesome. So that was my quick demo of Music Jotter. I know my first stream is not going to be the greatest. I won't have that many people either, but as long as I have more than one person, that's all that matters. And thank you for joining me. If you like this channel, or if you like what I'm doing, please click the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to try to build my YouTube channel little by little. It's not going to be, I have 35 people right now. If I can bring it up to 60, that'll be great. I'm not going to be like a YouTube star with millions of people, but as long as I get the point across, and if I slowly build this channel and slowly build, slowly, show you what Music Jotter is and get the word out, that's what I need. That's what I need from you. So if you want to go to my Kickstarter campaign, I pinned it at the top of this chat. I know that I'm relentlessly talking about it, but if I don't do it, who's going to do it? If this doesn't get funded, then this is it. So that's why I have to advertise it. If you go to my Kickstarter campaign, the link on the top, just click on that, notify me. It's going to let you know when I start, when I do the fundraiser. If I raise enough money, I can do this. That's what it comes down to. I'm spending my own money right now. I'm bootstrapping. I'm spending my own money to bring you guys here. And this is something that it's a one-shot deal. This is it. I can do it as long as I have the support, and I need your support and I need your help. So thank you. I'm going to leave the chat on for a little bit to see if anyone has anything else. But other than that, we'll chat on Facebook. Thanks for joining me. It means a lot. Even though there's only 11 people, it means a lot that you guys tuned in. It's going to help with this project. It's really going to help. So thanks a lot. Any other questions, just type them here. Maybe I missed something, so I'm going to actually start from the beginning. Let's see. Could be louder. Yeah, the microphone. Looking good. Tentative launch date. Okay. The launch date again is going to be sometime in 2023, August 2023. Music XML will be supported. Functionality, software, cool. The banjo, I missed this one. Banjo and mandolin have overtones that sometimes give false results. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, this is when we were talking about the the audio to MIDI. Yeah, that's going to be tough. Audio to MIDI is very tough to do. I don't know if anyone's ever tried doing that. It's you could do it with one voice. One voice you can do that, but when you're talking about like an orchestra or even a piano piece, it's very hard to do. I think you need like AI or machine learning, and I don't have the investment for that. The money I get from the Kickstarter is not going to go towards that. It's going to go towards the product. It's going to go towards the building Music Jotter out. So the AI does not happen yet. Maybe down the line. Realistic playback, yeah, that's what I'm focused on. Yeah, the mic, you'd have to have a clean signal too. So no noise, clean signal in order to do something like that. I can do voice to notes. That shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, cool. Again, thank you very much for joining. This ended up being an hour long. I wasn't sure if there was a limit for a live stream. I guess not. I've never done this before. I thought maybe an hour would cut me off, but it looks like it's okay. Look, and I don't know. Maybe I'll do this again before I launch another live stream, just to say, hey, tomorrow we're launching. Don't forget to go to my Kickstarter campaign. I'll send out emails too, so you'll know exactly when I go live. The ease of use is as a composer. The ease of use is vital and important for sure. That's something that one of my programs that I've used is Personal Composer. Very old program, but really, really easy to use. One of my favorites, Personal Composer. I got some of my inspiration from that program, and some of my inspiration from one of the first programs I used called Music Magic. So if you notice, the mixer view is going to be very similar to Music Magic's mixer view, just because I felt it's intuitive and easy to use. So that's my goal, make this very easy. Well, I'm glad that this was a success. I know that I stumbled a little bit in the beginning, but the more I do this, the better I'll be at it. I probably will just keep this as a recording. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not the greatest, but maybe I can make some edits. But I'll keep this as a recording for you guys, for the people who haven't seen it yet. But yeah, thank you very much, and I will see you in Facebook, in the Facebook group. And I know that my nuancing didn't sound the greatest because of the bitrate, so I'm going to post an example in my Facebook group about that nuancing example. It'll sound way better. Thanks, everyone. See you.